Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a very entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. This story, guys, hands down, in my opinion, is the best story I've done in weeks. This will absolutely be the best story of November thus far. And I highly recommend you guys definitely watch this to the end. So for you guys like the longer stories, this is definitely for you. This story is about a guy. He is now 31 years old. And he shares his story about events that happened just a few years ago with his ex-girlfriend. He's going to share how he went on the path to becoming R-pilled, and how when his ex-girlfriend, who he thought things were going really well, even though he was certainly paying attention to red flags, when she finally admitted to cheating on him, he handled this situation like a boss. He handled this in a way that absolutely is going to make you guys all laugh and be cheering on his side. And he is now all the wiser to reality in terms of how the gals are and things like that. And one of the most important themes of this story, because there's always a good lesson in every story, is this, is that when you give women, your girlfriend, fiance, wife, too much certainty, that's when BS happens. Women are attracted to drama and turmoil, because that's what they always get from the bad boys, and that's what they can get by watching those shows, drama with their girlfriends and everything like that. And when a man gives them certainty, that's when BS begins. That is a common theme to all these stories I do, when men either act weak or are pushover or doormat and give them certainty. Nice guys give their girls certainty. And nice guys, you know what happens to them. Bad boys give them uncertainty. And what I mean by this is, nice guys make it clear that they're never going anywhere. That no matter what that girl does, he'll always be there for her, and she knows it. Therefore, can pull BS. Bad boys, or guys that are, I wouldn't say are bad boys, just knowledgeable, they give them uncertainty, and the girl knows that if she crosses him, she's toast. He'll walk away like that and replace her. Therefore, they're always a little bit on edge, and are going to be on their best behavior. And this guy learns this very well. It's a very important theme, and I'll point this out. So I've been yapping enough here, so I'm going to get on with the story. Grab your beer. Starts off, he says, hello SSM. I am a fairly new subscriber, but I've really enjoyed the videos that you put out. Recently, I watched a couple of your videos that were on the topic of open relationships / open marriages, and it made me want to share my own experiences that happened a little more than 2 years ago. I told my friends and family what I did, and while I expected those close to me to have my back, I was surprised that most of the women in my life, to include my sister and my mom, think I'm a total a-hole for doing what I did. Most of my guy friends and my dad thought it was funny as hell. So maybe I'm an a-hole or a comedian. I'll leave that for up to you and your community to decide. Well, bro, I know how this story goes and ends, and I will let you know at the end what I think. And I'm pretty sure, given that you watched enough of my videos, you know exactly how I'm going to respond. Because I know how the community is going to respond. And by the way, if I've said this many times, and I'll say it again, women are saying you're an a-hole, you're doing something right. Because who do they chase after? At the moment, I'm 31 years old, but was 29 years old when all this happened. At the time, I had been in a 3-year relationship with my then girlfriend we will call Hannah. We're the same age, and we met at a river rafting event back in the summer of 2015. I was 25 or 26 at the time. I always loved doing outdoor activities, and my life was going really well. It'd been a few years since my last relationship that ended, for lack of a better word, poorly. Without going into too much detail, I dated my previous girlfriend, Katie, for nearly 2 years, and at the time, I was so blue-pilled I probably looked like a flashing neon sign that was screaming, "Abuse me." I'm an idiot. A long story short, I found out from a mutual friend that she had been cheating on me for most of our relationship. That sucks. But notice he said, and he's admitting this, I was as blue pill as it gets. Blue neon sign blinking. When you act like these guys, blue pill means pushover, weak, never check the girl, bombarded with compliments, overly nice behavior, certainty. Look what happens. And not to mention, she's just an a-hole in general. Of course, when I found out, I did everything wrong and even tried to win her back. Smack. You never tried to win back, let alone take back a cheater. That just makes them lose more respect for you. They already had no respect for you because they were cheating on you anyway. And now you're begging them to take you back even though they were awful to you. That makes them lose even more respect for you. I know you know this, but I'm pointing this out. Thinking about it now makes me want to have all my friends line up and smack me as I walk down the gauntlet. So you know. You said something in a few of your videos about some guys need pain to learn the lesson. You're right. After a few months of embarrassing myself and acting like a damn fool, it was my dad that sent me straight. I had it in my head that she must have done it because there was something wrong with me. My dad told me that she was a grown woman and she made her decisions because that was what she wanted to do. You can't take responsibility for other people's failings. I can still remember wanting to argue with him, but he was right. Strangely enough, the moment I stopped chasing her and trying to win her back, the moment she started chasing me. Imagine that. Now I'm going to backtrack for a second here. Your dad, in my opinion, is partially right. He is right that as an adult, she chose to cheat on you and do all that. That makes her the a-hole. Yes, absolutely. And there are things about you that aren't your fault. Well, you admit that you acted like your stereotypical blue pill nice guy. Those things that the way you behaved with her didn't help you. And you know this. So your dad's right about her, but there were things you were doing wrong that you certainly don't do now that made the situation worse. I'm guessing probably even if you didn't act that way, she still would have cheated. But then again, let's be honest, sadly, most cheat anyway. So he started ignoring her and she started chasing him. Imagine that, guys. It was crazy. Up until that moment, she'd been treating me like a clown, but the second I stopped showing any concern for her at all, it was like a switch flipped. All my friends have been telling me to cut her loose and leave her alone, and all their advice finally sunk in. I'm not sure if it was because of something I did or she was just a broken person, but there was no doubt that she was a poison in my life. It took a lot of pain and humiliation, but I cut her out of my life, and you can't imagine how quickly my life turned around when I wasn't focused on her. Yes. This is what happens when guys focus on themselves. They make themselves and their purpose and goals and happiness the center of their universe. Okay? This is why I encourage all you guys, you come first. Bad boys put themselves first, and the girls chase after them. Nice guys put the girls first and make their happiness the sole being for their existence, and look how the girls treat them. So right there, he started focusing on himself, started feeling a lot better. It's been a lot of years since then I've talked to her, but occasionally I hear about her. I think it was about a year ago when one of my old friends told me about her life. She's a 30-year-old divorced single mom. I can only imagine that she treated the next man as poorly as she treated me, and I thank the universe every day that she wasn't my fate. Shocker. Shocker, what happened to her? Now she's a single MOM, and she's going to be finding some other sucker to shack up with and provide for her and her child. But you know what? That won't be you. And it won't be anybody else that watches this work regularly. After Katie, I ended up going to counseling for a few months, and that was an interesting experience as well. My first counselor was a nice enough lady, but after the second session, it was clear that she was trying to get me to understand the things I did wrong to make Katie look for other partners. I'm not sure if they trained these people to be convincing, but damn, she almost had me believing that it was all my fault. So much that I started to question what I did. I ended up talking to my dad again about my concerns, and he must have laughed for a good 10 minutes when I told him what the counselor said. When he settled down, I asked him what was so funny. What he said is something I'll use for the rest of my life. He said, son, you don't ask a fish how to fish. You ask the fisherman. Asking a woman how to be a better man is like asking your dog to do algebra. They just don't get it. Yes, exactly. Now, again, I'm gonna say that there were things, in my opinion, you did wrong in the previous relationship. If you admitted you were a blue pill guy, that didn't help your situation. But I think there were other things there, and taking the advice from a woman on how to be a better man, get the fuck out of here. Your dad knows what he's talking about. The old fisherman thing, dead on. I ended up changing counselors and got an older gentleman. Good. My dad was right. The summary of my counseling was that I need to have more self-respect and stop letting people walk all over me. There you go. That's it. Self-respect, and you're not a pushover. You're not a doormat. Women do not respect weakness. And I'm going to guess with your ex, Katie, who's now a single MOM with a little kid, that you let her walk all over you and she didn't respect you. Now, again, she's still an a-hole, but you get my point. That's it. Self-respect, don't let people walk all over you. And you had a man tell you that. He also reaffirmed what my dad told me. Katie was an adult and she did what she wanted to do. How I felt about it wasn't even the equation. That was all on her. I think that was the moment the RP journey started, or my RP journey started. He also recommended some books to read. Most of them were good, but the one that really made a difference in the way I think was The Prince by Machiavelli. For anyone that hasn't had the chance to read it, I highly recommend it. The book takes on the question on whether, as a ruler, it is better to be feared or loved. Ultimately, Machiavelli argues that it's more important to be feared than loved, and that rulers could justify certain immoral actions to pursue glory as a ruler. I'll never be a ruler of nations, but when you apply the wisdom to relationships, it's perfect. Please, if you do nothing else this year, read it. You can find it for free online, and it's a fairly short read. Yeah, guys, many of you guys ask me if there's any books I can recommend, and I will use this opportunity to recommend two. One, Machiavelli, The Prince. Hands down, that is a great one on human nature. And believe me, the things he talks about wouldn't be popular with a lot of people, but it is reality. And this thing was written hundreds of years ago. Highly recommend that. A second book I would recommend is Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Also a great one about all sorts of things that can come into play. And that can be applied to business dealings, your own life, relationships, people, all that. And that was written way longer, I think, than Machiavelli's The Prince. So two books to put on your shopping list for Christmas, guys. Anyway, he continues, I spent the next couple of years working in my own life, and while there really wasn't much RP content out there, human behavior hasn't really changed all that much over the years. Sure, the methods and technologies have, but the underlying behaviors have remained fairly static. After reading The Prince, I started to see the imbalances in the relationships around me, and I paid attention. It turns out that I wasn't really special. I was just ignorant about how the world really works. I blame those damn Disney movies. Well, it isn't just the Disney movies. It's a whole lot of other things out there in the entertainment business and TV and movies. When I met Hannah on the afternoon rafting, I was out there with one of my friends, and she had a friend with her. We ended up sharing the boat and had a nice time talking with Hannah and Pam. To be clear, it wasn't whitewater rafting. It was just a nice, lazy afternoon float down a scenic river. Hannah and I seemed to hit off, and I thought she was interesting, so I asked her if she was in a relationship, and she said she wasn't. We ended up going to dinner that evening. Nice work, bro. You saw an opportunity and jumped on it, no pun intended, and you ended up going out and hanging out that night. Good for you. We had a nice time, and over the following 4 months, we went on a bunch of more dates. I was enjoying the time we spent together, but I wasn't really chasing her. Good. You learned. Most of the time, she was inviting me out on dates. Eventually, we agreed to start dating monogamously, and I was very clear to her my expectations. Good. Lay out the expectations, lay out the boundaries. You've learned, my man. Over the next couple of years, we were having a lot of fun together, and I even started wondering if she might be someone to build a future with. It was going to be years down the line before I ever made such an important decision, but the thoughts were there. I'm glad you instantly thought, okay, I'm thinking about this with her, because you're obviously a relationship guy, but I'm talking years down the road. I'm glad you also know that. She suggested moving in together a few times, and we had been an item for more than 2 years. But I wasn't ready to change my life that much when I still wasn't sure if we were going to last. She said she understood, but I know she was disappointed. Good. There is no reason to move in with a chick unless you are absolutely sure you want to marry her, and at that point then it's like the final test. But remember, even then, they can hide who they are. Or they won't, and you see the real colors when you start moving in with them. Look up some of my videos about moving in with your girlfriend. You'll see what I'm talking about there. It was after that we'd been together for 2.5 years that I started to notice some changes in Hannah. Now here we go, guys, where we're getting to the real juicy stuff of the story here. Normally we would spend time together 3 to 4 times a week, going out or just having dinner and watching a movie. Bad idea, bro. This is where you were going wrong. I know you're in a relationship with her and you had a good thing going, but seeing her 3 to 4 times a week, that is way too much. And you guys are about to see why. Some people will disagree with me, but at the end, I'm going to come back to this and make my point. By seeing her 3 to 4 times a week, what is he doing? He's giving her certainty. What happens when girls get certainty? On the other hand, if he was seeing her once a week, maybe twice on occasion, she has to fight more for his time, and therefore she has a little uncertainty, and he's more of a challenge. So I'll come back to that later. We both had busy jobs and planned our time together. It was when I noticed that a lot of the days we planned to do something suddenly had to be rescheduled due to changes in work and other excuses she was coming up with. In 2.5 years of her working the same job, this had never happened before, and I'm not stupid. Well, I'm kind of stupid, but it was something my dad told me a long time ago. People only change their behaviors when something has changed in their life. I didn't want to believe what my gut was telling me, but the time we had been spending together had dwindled from 3 to 4 times a week down to 1 day a week. Even on that day together, I could tell she really wasn't there. So, you were obviously at one point seeing each other all the time, and she was enthusiastically doing that. Well, something changed. And now, on her terms, you're now seeing her once a week on her terms, because when before she probably wanted to see you 3 to 4 times a week. And even then, at that one time a week, you could tell something's up. Trust your gut, gentlemen. That went on for about a month, and I was about to confront her when her behavior shifted back to what it had been, damn near overnight. The next couple of weeks, she was back to spending time with me about 4 times a week, but this time she was love bombing me and going out of her way to show me how much she loved me. Unless she was a schizophrenic or bipolar, something happened in that month that she seemed to be a different person, and I was pretty sure it was because of another man. I didn't come to that conclusion as quickly as I wish I had, but after about 2 months of her love bombing me, almost to the point of being annoying, I sat her down and told her that I knew she did something and was overcompensating for something she did. At first she denied it. Shocker. But when I just stared at her without a response, she broke down crying and apologized, saying it was a mistake. Apparently, she and a guy she works with were hooking up that month, and he ended up dumping her when his girlfriend found out. There you go. So, remember that whole 3 to 4 times a week that he was spending all this time with her and I said it's a mistake because you're giving her too much certainty? What happened? She started getting a lot of certainty, feeling comfortable. There was no more challenge. She was getting bored. And alas, a guy at work probably is catching her fancy. And he was a challenge. And probably she had to fight to get his attention and all that. And here you go. She was getting certainty with you, brother. And I know you know this now. And therefore, bullshit happened. But wait till you see, guys, when she starts to get uncertainty again. I was pissed, but strangely not really surprised. Well, that's because you're R-pilled. I asked her if his girlfriend wouldn't have found out if she would still be hooking up with him. What she said next told me everything I needed to know about the type of person she is. She said it didn't mean anything. It was only the SEX. I love you and want to build a future with you. Get the hell out of here. Only SEX. If you were nailing some other girl and admitted it or got caught or whatever and told her it was just SEX, didn't mean anything, do you think she'd be like, oh, okay, honey, no problem. Want to go to the movies? No. She'd have a major problem with this, and she'd have every right to. I'm not sure if it was the response she was expecting, but I started laughing. I don't know if she thought it was okay with everything because I wasn't shouting or yelling, but she said that she would do anything to make up for it, and she wanted to be with me. I asked her, how are you going to make it up to me? She said, I'll do anything. Just tell me what you want. I laughed again and told her, you're the one that broke our relationship. It's your responsibility to fix it. Good for you, man. Now, if I didn't know what was going to happen here, I just would have told her to get the F out of here, but he's going to have some fun with her. What are you going to do to make it up to me? She was just sitting beside me on the couch crying. I'm not sure what was going through her head, but I knew in that moment that any ideas of a relationship with her were over. She put herself in the recreational use only category. When she didn't say anything for about 10 minutes, I told her it was time for her to go home, and that only made her start to cry harder. I hear stories about guys being affected by the tears, but it didn't bother me. I know she wasn't crying because of what she did. She was crying because she got caught. Yes, and by the way, if that dude she was hooking up with didn't get caught, she'd probably still be hooking up with him now. Or probably what had happened was she'd keep hooking up with him and then break up with you. That's probably what happened, because that guy was the challenge and what was giving her uncertainty and all that. That's what was going on. You learned a hell of a lot from your previous relationship with Katie, but just by spending so much more time with her, gave her that certainty. It is ridiculous, guys, that you can. It's ridiculous that human nature is what it is, and it's ugly, where you could have a girl that you really care about and click with, and you want to treat her well and do nice things to her, and it's mistaken as weakness, and you're treated that way. It's absurd. And women complain and wonder why guys eventually act the way they do when they learn the hard way. Remember Al Bundy, don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. Anyway, she's crying and carrying on and all that shit. She asked if we could talk about some more, and I told her that until she could find out a way she's going to make it up to me that she spent a month effing another guy behind my back, I had nothing else to say to her. She ended up leaving the apartment in tears. I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't hurt. I was. I really thought we had a good thing going, but I guess I didn't get the memo. Yeah, man, that sucks. It really does. You really did think you were something going. Good thing you took your time with her. Good thing you didn't move in with her. Starting that evening and over the following 3 to 4 days, she was constantly texting me how sorry she was, but I ignored her texts. I didn't want to hear how sorry she was. She wasn't sorry when she was cheating on me. All right. Now notice, guys, she now has uncertainty. She doesn't know where her future lies with this guy. She doesn't know where her future stands. And now, watch how she acts. It was almost after a week, and after I asked her to leave my apartment and me not responding to her at all, that she called me and suggested that she would let me have a one-sided open relationship to make us even. That doesn't tell me she loves you. No woman that truly loves her guy wants another dude hooking up with another girl. I asked her what was there to stop her from slandering me on social media for cheating on her if I agreed to something like that. She said, I would never do that to you. I love you. I just laughed and told her, you said you loved me before, but you still cheated on me. She was swearing that she'll never do it again, and I told her, sorry, I don't believe you, and hung up. Good for you. And yes, she would cheat on you. You took her back, I guarantee you. If you took her back and went back to that 3 to 4 day a week, hanging out, going to the movies, going out to eat, that type of thing, you'd be right back to the same bullshit. Women don't respect weakness, and women are turned off by certainty. It was about 2 hours after that call that I got a call from my best friend. As soon as I picked up, he was telling me how sorry he was, and he never thought Hannah would cheat on me. Hang on here. How does his best friend suddenly know that this girl cheated on him? Can you guys guess? Well, watch this. I was a bit confused because I hadn't told anyone anything. I asked him how he found out, and he said that Hannah posted on social media that she cheated on me and how sorry she was that I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, for God's sake. So she's going to humiliate him on social media. Gee, I wonder why. I'll tell you why. Because number one, that way then probably she could word it in a way to try to get people to pressure him to take her back. And two, as a way to somehow get pity from other people. That's why. One of these morons have to put things on social media. This is why I'm off social media. So I have to see these posts from all these jackasses around the world. I've been on social media for 2.5 years. I mean, for Facebook or anything personal. That pissed me off. If I wanted the world to know my private business, I would have shared that. I got off the phone with my friend and looked at her post. It didn't go into specific details, but she made it clear that she was completely at fault. When I looked at some of the responses, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that most of her female friends were telling her how brave she was for admitting what she did and taking responsibility. There you go. Never mind what she did to me. Never mind that I was the one who was hurt. Somehow she's the noble one for admitting being trash. There you go. I know it was probably petty, but I never claimed to be a saint. The smart thing to do would have been to just block her and move on, but I wanted a little payback. Nobody here is going to blame you, and I certainly will not. I called her and let her know that I saw her post and that if she was serious about the one-sided open relationship, I would agree to it. She asked... It's a big fucking truck going by. She asked how long I wanted to have an open relationship because she only cheated on me for 1 month. I told her that by her own admission that if they didn't get caught, she would still be cheating, and I wasn't given a say in the matter at all. If she wanted this to be the way the way she was making up to me, I'd be the one to decide when we were even, and she could delete my number and move on with her life. She started crying but agreed. You have all the power. She's dying to have you back, therefore you can lay out the terms because you don't give a shit. Either she'll accept them or you walk away. You win either way. And so she agrees to this. Now watch how he handles this, guys. And for those of you who think that, he's just as bad as her doing the open relationship, just watch. Let me be clear. I had no intentions of going out and sleeping around. I had a lot of soul searching to do before. I would even consider getting into another relationship. Over the next couple months, Hannah was constantly calling and texting me about how much she loved me and wanted to spend time with me. Just like she did, I gave her a little of my time once a week, and that was only to blow her back out. There was no romance, no cuddles, no I love yous. I've always been a giving partner, and I always did my best to make sure they were satisfied. For Hannah, I would get mine, and regardless if she had fun or not, I just said I had someplace to be and bounced. For the rest of the time, I was either too busy or had something else going on. Of course, she thought that something was with other women, and I didn't tell her the otherwise. It was driving her crazy. When I looked at her, I didn't see my girlfriend. She was just someone I used to know. So she's having all this uncertainty. Who are you hooking up with? Do you like her better? Is it multiple women? Are they younger than me? On and on and on. The uncertainty. And he's only spending one time a week with her. One time a week, and he's hooking up with her, not even satisfying her needs, doing his business, and walking saying, see ya. This must be making her freaking crazy. Chasing the bad boy. Chasing the uncertainty. He gave her certainty before with that 3 to 4 times a week spending time with her and doing and playing like husband and wife type of thing. And look what that got him. Now that he is backed away and she has to fight for his time, fight for his affection, who's in the driver's seat now? It's unfortunate that's this way, but it is what it is. After about 2 months of just being used, she broke down and asked me why I was being so cold to her, and she thought we were working on our relationship. He says, I know, I'm probably an a-hole, but I didn't ask for any of this. I told her it didn't mean anything, it was only sex. I would never build a future with a cheater. Good job, man. Remember, those were her words. It didn't mean anything, and it was just the sex. That's what she said about the dude that she was hooking up with and ruined what you thought was a great relationship. At first, she was just watching me, and then she started bawling and calling me an a-hole. Take that as a compliment. I just laughed at her and asked her how it felt before I left and blocked her number. Of course, she went on social media and tried to make me look bad and be the bad guy, but I didn't care. The people that I care about already know what she did to me. I guess that's why I was so surprised both my mom and my sister tried to read me the riot act for leading her on and not just breaking up with her. I love my mom and sister, and I told them, but I reminded them that it's my love life was none of their business, and that it was Hannah's idea to make it up to me. My dad says something about karma and revenge being best served cold before he started calling me Iceman. Yes. Do not listen to those women because they don't want to hear that. Hannah, your now ex, deserved that. Okay? Look what she did to you. She deserved to get a little payback, to teach her a lesson. Now, maybe she'll think twice. Probably not, but I can throw that maybe in there. So that was about 2 years ago, and while I don't think I'll bother with any committed relationships, I still have my share of fun. Hell, even Hannah drops by about once a month to knock boots, but she knows I'll never trust her beyond a booty call. Dude, 3 years later, you're still nailing her, and she's still hoping to get you back? Iceman. It doesn't stop her from trying to win me back, but what can you do? So, you be the judge, SSM. A-hole or comedian. Thanks for the work you do. If I had some of this information early in my life, I could have saved me a lot of time and money on counseling. Brother, that was a kick-ass story. I had fun reading it earlier during my lunch, and I had a lot of fun doing this for this video today. And I guarantee the audience will love it. No, oh, so your question, a-hole or comedian? Well, you're a comedian. We can all agree that it's funny as hell. And two, asshole, you're the good asshole. You're the asshole we all like and want to hang out with and give a high five to. You're the asshole that women say are assholes but are attracted to you. Hence, this is why your ex, after 3 years, is still coming over once a month to hook up with you in hopes to get you back, but that's never going to happen. You're the cool asshole. So, good job. So, I hope this whole experience really made you learn something, which I'm sure it has. And now, you were once a relationship guy. Whether you'll do relationships again, who the hell knows? But you'll be all the wiser. And this story, guys, as I said in the beginning, is a perfect example about when it comes to women and certainty. When you give them too much certainty in where they stand with you, that's when bullshit happens. It's sad. You want to have it the girl you adore and are so attracted to, spend lots of time with her, do lots of nice things, but sadly, that is misinterpreted as weakness, and that's when bullshit starts. But when you give her a little bit of your time, once, maybe twice a week on occasion, she has to always wonder where you are, who you're with. Is there another girl? Is there a prettier girl? Why aren't you spending more time with her? All the other guys want to spend all the time with her and will make her chase after you more. Again, you don't ask a fish how to fish. You ask a fisherman. You learn from a man, because your average woman is not going to tell you to spend once or twice a week with her, twice at best, and make her wonder about you, make her fight to get you. No woman is going to tell you that, okay? That's going against the code. But that's what they respond to. And that's right here. And the second she realized she wanted him back, and he then started seeing her once a week just for hooking up, and she thought he was with somebody else, look how she behaved. And in the first story with his first girlfriend, Katie, when he stopped trying to chase her and win her back after her cheating on him, and he was indifferent, but he was actually done with her, what happened? She was chasing him. It is what it is, guys. I talk about reality here and common sense. People don't want to hear that stuff. This is why they hate me. So again, big theme here about certainty and uncertainty. And again, just like his dad said, you don't ask a fish how to catch a fish. You ask a fisherman. Great story, bro. I enjoyed doing this. All right, guys. That is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to comment in the comment section, giving this guy some praise and a shout out for his learning and how he handled this like a boss. Hopefully this will inspire a lot of you guys to handle your relationships a little better so you're not taken advantage of and all that. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.